to another episode of Find Your Strong podcast. Christine and I are super excited to welcome Debbie Lesko today. Those of you who are on Instagram and on Facebook will know her behind the Diets Don't Work handle. And yeah, we would love you to introduce yourself today, Debbie, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about what you do and where you live and anything that you're happy to share.
Good morning. Good morning for me. Good morning. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm excited to be able to share with people my story and how I got to where I am. I am a 69-year-old grandmother. I have two wonderful grandchildren that are my life, and they keep me busy. So, and then I have a job working at a school here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I take care of their lunch recess time, which is a great retirement job. I love it. I was an accountant in my professional life for many years, and then I have my social advocacy is for diet culture and fat liberation. And because of my illness with or my recovery with anorexia, I started Diets Don't Work. In December of 2018, I was struggling to keep my recovery on top of things. And I said, I got to find a way to be able to express what I'm feeling and get people to quit talking about diet culture. And so then I just said, okay, I'm going to find posts. I'm going to post them on my personal page and just go from there. And people loved it. They loved what I was doing and said, you need to create a page for this. And that's exactly what I did. In April of 2019, I went live with Diets Don't Work Case 1 on Instagram and Diets Don't Work on Facebook. The whole platform is to be able to make people aware of the dangers of diet culture and how they affect us on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
What I was we talked about this before we hit record, Debbie, and I mean, maybe we're starting at the wrong point of your story, but it was like you said that you were struggling in 2018 with recovery. And I just wonder, what was the difference maker? What has kept you going in recovery this time that maybe was different to other times?
I've had anorexia since I was 17 diagnosed. I started my diet journey at age 6, but so over the years, I have been in and out of recovery many times. And the last 15 years, I was very bad, and I had been in treatment centers 6 times. And this last time, the 6th time, I don't know what the difference was. Maybe I was just ready. I had a granddaughter at the time, and I didn't want her growing up the in seeing me not eat and seeing me in the hospital as many times as I would go in because I wasn't eating. I dropped off. I was very sickly, and I didn't really care because I thought I was fat. You always think you're different than what really is the accuracy of body dysmorphia. So I only saw fat on my body. So when I went into Rosewood, which is a treatment center here in Arizona, I was sort of ready because I was put on probation for my job, and my anorexia started affecting my job, and I was put on probation, and so I had to go to treatment or I'd lose my job.
Wow.
So my motivation became I got to get back to work. And I've got children.
Yeah, I mean the grandchildren, I was going to ask you this actually. How much of what you are doing has them in mind to help make the world a less diety place in the future? Is that one of the reasons why you're doing your work?
That's absolutely one of the reasons. I mean,
Right.
if I didn't have my granddaughter when I went into treatment, I
Mm,
I would have given up. I
mm,
guarantee I would have given up because I was fighting it and I said, I can't do this anymore. You can't put food in my body. I'm not eating. And then I would have to think about my granddaughter, and the treatment center made this wonderful little picture card. They got pictures of my granddaughter and said, this is the reason. And they made it in a sign and put it in my area of this treatment center just to keep reminding me. And they made a little plaque that was for a little like placemat, so that it was under my plate when I would have to eat. I would see my granddaughter all the time, you know.
oh,
So that was definitely a motivation for me. Now, as far as continuous recovery as of like 2018, because that was 2017 when I went into my final treatment center. And
mm,
then 2018, you have all these ads like it is right now, or maybe a little bit earlier in December and early January. It's the push for uh, you got to be thin, you got to
Yeah.
be beautiful, you've got to lift weights, you got to do all this stuff to make your body acceptable and everybody to look the same. You know, it doesn't happen that way. And so I
mm,
had to find that special nudge to go ahead and research dieting and fat liberation and body positivity. And I had used it so that I wouldn't get pulled back in to the diet world. And because I know that I may have another relapse in me, but I do not have another recovery in me. There's no way.
mm.
Wouldn't do that again. But yes, I want to do it for my grandchildren. I want to be able to give them a world, or help to give them a world that is free from this diet culture, and let them know that their bodies are okay just the way they are.
Where they are. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's,
It's
I think that really resonates what you said about, for me, recovering from anorexia into a dieting culture
mm,
is almost impossible because you're getting completely mixed messages. You're coming out of recovery and you're being encouraged to eat more food, but all the images around you are promoting chasing thinness, chasing the impossible body ideal. And it's to recover in a healthy way is really hard, really
right,
hard. And I think it's accounts like yours which help. It's Instagram, for all what people say about social media, has been such a source of support and help for me around eating disorders. Find intuitive eating through social media. And yeah, and I think we wanted to ask you how you discovered intuitive eating, Debbie, and at what point in your journey did you discover it?
I in January of 2019, I went to a new dietitian. The ones from Rosewood had discharged me, and I had to find a independent dietitian. And when I went to her, she started talking about intuitive eating. Now,
Oh,
ago, many years ago, like I think 2013, I was given a copy of that book in recovery, and I read it
Oh,
and said, "Oh, this is good. I can do this." That's what I said then when I read it. And then when I got home from the treatment center, it was like, nope, I went right back into normal mode. So I wasn't totally unfamiliar with it when the dietitian told me about it, but she worked with me in getting me to add more to my diet, to let me eat more, and uh, it was not easy. I'm not saying it was easy at all. In fact, it was very hard because I still had the fear of getting fat, and it was um, it was great, but it was very, very hard. And so I knew about. She would help me with the principles of intuitive eating, and we'd go through them, and I'd say, no, I can't. This food is bad. This food is bad. This is food
yeah.
that, but here it is 6 years later, um, and I am fully intuitive eating. It is it's amazing to me. And as you guys know, I had a surgery done not too long ago
Mm.
on my esophagus, which prevented me from swallowing.
oh
And
gosh.
so they fixed that in December, and there's a newfound freedom now
Oh
because
wow.
can eat just about anything I want, as opposed to before it was strictly soft foods. So intuitive eating has been a part of this journey, absolutely. But a lot of it has to come back to fat liberation and knowing that my body is okay just the way it is, because I gained a lot of weight in recovery. And do I like it? Not particularly, but
Mm.
I'm living now. I am living the life. I have a great life. My
Mm.
grandkids, my job, just
Mm.
all of that. I
Mm.
think the difference from 25 years ago, when my entire life revolved around what I was going to eat, what I wasn't going to eat, how I was going to exercise, did I have another race set up for, a marathon or something? And that was my entire life. So this
Yeah.
has been obviously life changing.
Yeah, very clearly has been. Can I ask you about all those years that you were struggling with anorexia and you sort of went up and down with it and everything, sort of thinking back on that time, what do you do to show yourself compassion for that time? How do you deal with all of those, I mean, decades really of being in that place?
Well, honestly, it's taken a lot of therapy to get to that point.
Mm,
Um, Talking with therapists and
yeah.
realizing that it was the only coping mechanism that I could choose, or
Hmm.
that I chose,
Hmm.
to help me deal with some of the pain of my past and my years of growing up and
Mm,
my marriage. Um, it, I
mm,
had a lot of abuse between my dad and even my ex-husband. And
mm,
so it's a matter of working with a therapist and finding that compassion. It is so important to be able to find the compassion no matter where you are in your journey. I
Yeah.
mean, from years ago, yes, to have a compassionate self, to look at what happened to me, to now I have to stay with compassion. You can't just eliminate that part of recovery.
mm.
It's yeah.
And I think that's, I mean, exactly what you're saying, but that's why you're here now, because of those years that you
Yes.
battled this eating disorder. That's why that collective experience has made it possible for you to be here and to help so many other people and inspire so many other people. And again, it's sort of my daughter recently is in recovery for anorexia, and she had it from she was 12. And that broke my heart because I know that the behaviors I displayed around her when she was little were disordered.
Mm.
And I know that that could have contributed to her, then falling into those patterns. And that's been a hard journey for me to forgive myself for and show myself compassion. Um, but I have done that because I know that, exactly like you, it was a coping mechanism for me, and it was the only way that I could manage my mind and everything that was going on. So, and I think it's so important, Debbie, for people out there who are struggling at whatever point they're at, to just be as kind to themselves as they can.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
You know it, I know it, Ella knows it. It's something you have to really work at and take the time to think about what you're doing. Yeah,
Mm.
self-care comes into that. And and believe it or not, I think Dice Don't Work started because of a self-care mode for myself, because
Hmm.
I'm trying to protect my recovery. And so, you know, that was a self-care activity for me, and it continues to be the same even up to today. you know
Mm.
so compassion is a really big thing, and I have such trouble with it because I expect myself to be perfect a lot of times. And so compassion is a real difficult piece to pull into my recovery.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it is hard, but also I think what you just shared is a real good um advert for actually seeking support. So you said you found a dietitian who was trained in intuitive eating. You said you found a therapist that you could work through all of your pain and trauma with. I think it's really important to sort of acknowledge that sometimes we just need that support and we can't do it on our own.
Absolutely. I would never have made it without the people in my life,
Mm,
both my family members
mm,
as well as professionals. And I had a recovery coach at Rosewood who I
mhm,
still in contact with, you know,
mm.
because I can, if I'm having an issue or a problem day, I can reach out to her and say, okay, Shannon, help,
Yeah.
whatever. And
That's great.
so, um, people are very important, and that's one of the things that I tell people when they ask me what can I do, and it's like, you know, watch your social media feed, get support people, and be around people who love you and support you. You need to do that, and then
Mhm.
focus on eating with a dietitian.
Debbie, have you had any, in terms of social media, because we are talking a bit about fat liberation, which hopefully we'll talk a bit more about. Evelyn Tribbley always talks about intuitive eating being a social justice movement, really, as it should be. Have you had any pushback on Instagram or on Facebook, or has it been mainly positive comments and feedback?
Always there are trolls out there. It's really hard
Yeah.
to manage them. But
Mm.
I've gotten better at just saying bye, and hitting the delete button, block button, whatever it is. I've had death threats from people saying, you are killing other people, and I'm going to get you for it too. This morning, I had a post out on my page, and somebody replied with, um, how can you tell people to eat when they're killing themselves at certain weights, and it's like, no. And she said, would you give somebody drugs if they were in recovery from drug addiction? And it's like, it's two different things. Food and drugs are two way different things. But yes, the trolls that I get
Jesus.
are just horrible, and you get a lot of the, I mean, I have to be really diligent at watching the page because you do get the trolls, and I want them gone. Delete, delete, delete. So it's a shame that it's out there, but there's a lot of pushback. I mean, you guys,
There's
don't you? I mean, you've seen it. Have you seen it?
there's so much misinformation out there. There's so much misinformation. I think, isn't there, Ella? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I think because I curate my feed, so I'm in the non-diet bubble.
They,
And
Yeah,
you kind of
same.
think, oh, there's lots of us, but actually we are a tiny little island
Mm,
aren't we? We're just like this tiny little island of non-diet, fat
mm,
liberation, kind of health at every size there. And then there's this like, and I think you don't realize that until you get the comments, until you get the trolls, but it's actually, if you look at the intuitive eating book, which is now, it used to be evidence inspired, but is now evidence based with over 200 studies, there is no evidence that being in a larger body is detrimental to health.
it's
mhm,
right. It's a correlation. It is not a causation. Um,
Precisely that. And I think, it's if you bring it back to the science, I think people then, that's the only thing that I ever do if I get if anybody contests what I'm writing, I just kind of bring it back to the science.
mm.
But it's so tough. And especially because you've got a huge following, you're going to get more of it,
yes.
Yeah.
because you've got so many followers and people, and that just means you get more, doesn't it, Ella?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. So can I just ask you how much time, because you're obviously you're working, you've got your family, your grandchildren. How much time does it take up to run the platform and to look for posts and yeah, how do you manage all of that? Because it looks like you're always there, you're very responsive, you're always posting. That must take up a huge amount of your time.
It does, and there are. It does. I
Mm.
probably average 40 hours a week on the platform. Oh, on top,
Debbie!
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, by the time I've researched the posts and decided what posts I'm going to use, put the posts up on Facebook and Instagram, answer any comments that happen on Facebook and Instagram, monitor the trolls, as well as just keeping myself motivated and looking at the posts for myself. And you can sometimes tell where I'm at because of what the posts come out. But yeah, it takes a lot of time. And on Facebook, I do the caption description. So as soon as it's posted, I go back and I add the caption description uh,
Wow.
to the post itself, because
Yeah.
people got on me about not being inclusive enough, and I needed to add something for people who may be uh, hearing deficient, or not being
Mm-hmm.
see
Mm-hmm.
the, because the automatic readers will read the posts.
And
Right.
have you
Wow.
got, so really interested, is there any goals? Have you got any goals for the page? Are you just going to see what happens? Are you just going to keep growing it? What is
I think
your...
I think I'm going to keep growing it. There was a point in over the years here that I had almost 88,000 followers, and the account got hacked.
I saw that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I lost a lot of people. And I'm now at about 21,000 on Instagram and 40,000 on Facebook, which,
Wow.
and there's a private group that I run on Facebook as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it, when I was at 88,000 people, there was probably more involvement in what I was doing as far as really researching everything. Not that I don't now, because I do, but I wanted to see more action as far as more people involved. And so I was probably more invested in growing the page. I'm still invested in growing the page. Where it's going to wind up, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I keep doing what I'm doing and helping people as I can. And I get messages, direct messages all the time. What am I supposed to do about this? How do I do this? How do I handle this? And I give them the best that I can give them, and then encourage them to get to a treatment or a therapist or dietitian to help more. And I make a lot of referrals to dietitians all over the world. And it's kind of a thing. So I don't, I have any, okay, this is where we're going to be in 10
Yeah.
years, even next year. I don't know. It is a job, and I don't support.
I was going to
No.
say, yes, it is a job. I mean, it is a full-time job given the hours you spend. So you just alluded to the fact, sort of taking time to choose what posts to post, and you said that sort of it can be an indication of where you're at the moment, what you're sort of focusing in on. Is that generally how you choose what to repost, or how do you choose the posts that you share?
It's I make sure that it aligns with intuitive eating. It aligns with health at every size, fat liberation, fat positivity. The main focus of the whole account was started for eating disorder awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Instagram shut me down for 3 months last year because they said I was inspiring or help to get people involved in an eating disorder.
Oh my God.
I Yes, right. It was horrible. They shut me down both on Facebook and on Instagram. Um, and so that was very difficult and took me back to, do I really want to keep doing this? But anyway, that was my main focus when I started the account. And so it's still part of the platform and part of my main looking at things. What can help somebody who's in an eating disorder? I am more careful now, as opposed to 6 months ago, on what I post, because of Instagram's watching me,
Mm.
and it happens because of other people complaining about it too. And
Mm-hmm.
I last September, I was getting all of these. Somebody thinks you're sick. Somebody thinks you're, beware. Do you need help? Do you need help with your eating disorder? And I would get them 10 times a day. And it's like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. And I'm just trying to help people. So it's eating disorder awareness is the primary goal.
Mm-hmm.
We'll know where to get help at. And then the other ones because intuitive eating and health at every size help recovery from an eating disorder.
Right.
There's been recently, due to, you know, certain people being elected and all that kind of stuff, there has been a big change in social media and, you know, the algorithm, and there's lots of people leaving Instagram and Facebook alike. But I sort of agree that my feeling is I think you need to stay. I think we need to stay. So if everybody leaves who, you know, writes anything that is contrary to the popular opinion, then where are we going to be? So if, you know, if all there's left on social media is misinformation about dieting and health, you know,
Yeah.
I think it's so important to stay and to
Mm.
actually have a voice, even if it's trying to be made smaller, just to kind of keep pushing. Do you agree with that, Debbie?
It is a difficult atmosphere on social media right now with all the changes that are going on politically and socially. So I'm here. I'm here, and I have to stay here because,
Mm.
you know, despite the amount of time that I put into it, we have to. Somebody has to let people know, and
Yeah.
I'm those people that have to let people know that diets don't work. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simple statement: diets don't work, and that
Yeah.
includes things like lifestyle changes or wellness programs or whatever you want to call it. If there's any kind of restriction, no matter how small or what composes that restriction, it's not going to work on a long-term basis. And
Yeah.
there's studies to prove that.
Oh my goodness, so many studies, so many studies. But I really would love to talk to you about your relationship, if you don't mind, Ella, with
I don't mind at all. I'm just...
because I'm a trainer, so I teach Pilates and strength training, all of that kind of stuff. I'd love to know what your relationship with movement is like now, what it has been like. You talked about marathons and running, and what has it been like for you, and how has it changed, Debbie?
Well, it has definitely changed because of health problems. I'm 69 years old. I've been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, so it's very difficult to move. I do as much as I can now, but it has no ulterior motive to change my body.
Yeah.
The exercise, the running, the marathons, the training that I did years ago was all just to keep my body in shape and be,
Mm.
the word fit. It When I first got into recovery this last time, um, I tried to run. I tried to get back out there. I mean, I'm in Phoenix. I moved to Phoenix from Pittsburgh, where it was really cold, very cold there. And Phoenix has wonderful weather. And when I got out of treatment, I thought, oh, this is great. I can go run. I can go walk. This is the perfect weather for this. And I tried for a while, and I got on bikes. I tried to find the less demanding uh, exercising program, and it was still because I was addicted to exercise. I spent 2 hours a day at the gym, went to work, spent 12 hours at work, 10, 12 hours at work, and then came home and tried to eat something very small. But exercise was such a big
Yeah.
my my disease. It was an exercise addiction. It was hard to break that, but my body kind of said, "No, you already have used it long enough. It's gonna slow me down." I love to do. I love to work out, but that isn't possible right now with my body the way it is, and
Mm.
so I had to basically recover from the exercise addiction because my body wouldn't let me do it anymore. And then,
It
so
wanted
Yeah.
rest. Yeah. On that same note, if you don't mind me asking this, with a chronic health condition, we're often told, you should not eat that, you should eat that. How do you navigate that with your history with an eating disorder as well? Because you will have been told stay clear of these foods, and that would very easily go back into that restrictive mindset of the eating disorder. That must be incredibly difficult to navigate. How do you do that?
Sometimes it's very difficult, and I have to tell you, like last April when I had this problem with my esophagus when it started, I really had a hard time because I could not eat, and the eating disorder went, haha, see,
Mm-hmm.
you don't,
Mm.
you don't have to eat,
Mm-hmm.
get
Mm-hmm.
away with losing some weight. And I did lose some weight from the fact that I went down to just liquids and very soft foods. So I was eating a lot and I lost some weight, and the eating disorder got very loud and saying, ho, see, we can do this. And so it took getting back in therapy, getting back with a dietitian and saying, okay, I need help. I think I'm slipping because of this physical condition. I have to find a way to eat whatever is necessary to keep the body functioning. Because I knew, I mean, I was passing out, and I was like,
Gosh.
we got to fix this. This isn't
Yeah.
working. And the eating disorder just loved it. I mean, so it takes some extra pushback for me when something like that goes. And of course, the inflammation and rheumatoid arthritis, people say, you need to be eating this, you can't be eating this, you can't be eating that. And I'm like, no, that's not true. There's
Mm.
no proof that eating something different will affect the inflammation in my body. You can't find it. Now, you know, I don't pay much attention to it because, like I said, I've taught myself the rules and the I've looked at the research. I've done the research myself, and so I've learned that it doesn't matter. And intuitive eating, of course, you guys know about the gentle nutrition. If we're not saying eat whatever, yes, I am eat whatever, but when it comes down to it, you do what's best for your body. You,
Yeah.
if you like that food and it affects you poorly, then maybe you need to change that. And I'm celiac, so I have to eliminate gluten out of my diet. But there's lots of celiac alternatives.
Yep.
So if I ate gluten, I would be very sick, and so I can't eat that. And so the gentle nutrition is basically learning what your body likes, and with a chronic health condition, you can move around that with you just have to listen to your body. And that has been a very difficult step in the recovery process because I, I learned to turn that off really good during my anorexic days. So
Yeah, that's that you push it down and you push it down. You don't listen to it. You kind of, and then it's suddenly you're going, oh, where is the voice? That's I think for years you suppress hunger, you suppress it, you push it down, and then it's suddenly, oh, what? And all the signals come up, and it's like, wow,
right.
how do I listen to these new signals that my body's actually? And it's such an amazing thing that when you felt when you're before surgery, when you could only eat the soft food, that you realized, okay, this is affecting me and I need some help.
Yep.
That's huge, Debbie, isn't it? Because you knew that you didn't want to keep going down that path.
I
And
saw that it could be a dangerous path for me. And because, yes, I knew, like I said earlier, I know that I have another relapse in me, but I don't have another recovery. I had fallen down that trap. I'm afraid that I wouldn't be here today, because it was very strong. And I reached out as soon as I recognized it. Now, that wasn't immediate, obviously. Because I'm eating what I can eat just to keep some nutrition going into my body. But when I started losing the weight, I recognized that, okay, this is fighting my stance to stay in recovery because I'm losing weight. Oh, that's kind of nice. But I had to get help. And that's, I don't know how to once you get in recovery, you can hear the eating disorder voice even more clearly, I think, than when you're in the throes of an anorexic or binge eating or whatever you've got, the orthorexia, you don't hear it as something bad.
Mm. Wow. I'm just thinking about the recovery process. It sounds to me, and I don't know what the previous recovery attempts were for you, but it sounds like you are very much more in a place where you are aware of the dangers of a relapse, and it sounds a lot more sustainable, as in, I'm here, I'm comfortable in this place, I know the warning bells, I know the warning signs, and I can pull it back. So does that just does it feel a lot more secure in this recovery than it did in previous recoveries?
Absolutely. This one has definitely been more uh, advantageous to my body and to my
Right.
life. Um,
Mm,
Previous attempts, like I said, I was in 6 treatment centers over the years, and
mm,
I would come out, and despite my, okay, yes, I'll do this attitude, I was home maybe 6 weeks and I was back into behaviors because
mhm,
life didn't change for me. My
mm,
life was still focused on work and exercise. And so those things didn't change. I
mm,
make lifestyle changes, not in the matter of food, but learning to manage the stress in a different way than I ever have. So it is more sustainable now, comparatively speaking, because I just would go home and I had no support. Even though I
mm,
had a therapist, I had a therapist when I would discharge, and we would work together. But the pain of the previous of my younger years was so strong, I didn't know how to deal with that. And I had to come up with new coping mechanisms. And this time I have. I had
mm.
the encouragement to get those extra coping mechanisms. And now it's things like music, and I've just started into some art projects, and it's and my kids, my kids, both
Mm,
my grandkids and the kids at school.
mm.
I think this is just, we're going to have to sadly wrap up, which is very, very sad. But I really think that this conversation, I think we need another part to this conversation, because I'm really interested, Debbie, which is in how you see the eating disorder part. So maybe that's something we can delve into, because I've been in therapy a lot as well for my eating disorder. And I used to see it as an enemy. I hated that part. I hated it. And then I kind of began to make friends with it, because I realized that actually there was a part of me that was trying to help me cope with life, with what I'd been through, with what had gone on in my life. And it wasn't, the way it was going about it was not a healthy way. And I had to find another job for that part almost. And it made me think about it completely differently, because I'd always tried to push it away, push it away, push it away, not listen to it. Whereas I just took a different approach. And
That was good. That's really good attitude there. Um,
yeah, because
and-
it's something I'm really interested in talking to you about. So we'll maybe schedule you in for part 2.
Would
okay,
you come back on?
But
absolutely.
and for me, this whole conversation has been just showing that recovery is possible, but it's
Yes,
not linear. It
oh, right,
is, and it's okay. It's, that it's not to punish ourselves even more if we struggle.
right.
That I don't know if you wanted to add something, Ella, to that.
No, I absolutely love it. And I loved what you just shared with sort of befriending that eating disorder part. I've just done a training course on internal family systems as a
Yeah.
therapy approach. And I think it's absolutely fascinating. And I would love to hear more about how you both kind of befriended that eating disorder, and how you you made it part of your life and showed it compassion because it was just doing its job. It just
Yeah.
got it a little bit wrong because it
Yeah.
made you very ill, but it was trying to protect you from
Yeah.
something. And I
Yeah.
think that is such an integral part of recovery, to give yourself and that part compassion, rather than continuing to fight it. And I'm hearing from both of you that you are in a place where that is possible and that's what you're doing. So I think that's just lovely.
But
Yes.
Debbie, thank you. Thank you for coming on and for sharing so openly and just
Mm.
We really, really appreciate your time. And I think this conversation will be really important to our listeners as well. So
Yeah.
we appreciate you, Debbie. Thank you.
Thank you. One thing I just want to say, recovery is possible no matter where you are in life. 20 years old, 5 years old, 40 years old, 70 years old, and recovery is possible. Don't give up.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That is so inspirational and encouraging. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.